Welcome to the Regional Opportunity Index video tutorial series. Video number 5, using the ROI as an example. Here we'll show an example of how to use the ROI. For more information on the nuts and bolts of data mapping functions, see video 4. And for more information on the ROI indices, see video 3. Suppose I'm a rural community advocate working in the Fresno area, and I want to mobilize my base around gaining increased investment in economic development in the highest need areas. I'm very concerned that small rural areas get their fair share of investments from public and private funding sources. So let's explore the ROI. To start with, we'll start with the 3 panes open. Then we will move to 2 panels to keep it simple for now. I'm also going to decide to stay with the street base map to give me the place and road names, and fade the map slightly so that I can see them. I first look at the overall people and place opportunity indices to get oriented to the regional patterns. The ROI for people is in panel 1. The ROI for place is in panel 2. I then zoom into the Fresno area until I can see the community names. I then decide to look at the community of Kerman, because this is a new site we plan to organize. To get an overview of who lives in this area, I open the demographic layer from the layer menu. By clicking on the plus sign in the demographic layer menu, you get multiple options to look at the demographics for that community. I will slide this over to get a better view of how the map changes by doing so. So let's take a look at who lives in this area. We can choose looking at the Latino and Hispanic community, clicking there. Then to find out the demographics, you can use obviously the legend to guide you, or we can click on this certain area that we're looking at and see that Hispanics make up 75.3% of the population in this part of Kerman. Let's see who else lives in this area. If we click on the Asian and Pacific Islander, and we click on the same area, we see that 9.3% Asian and Pacific Islanders make up the population in Kerman. We can also look at African Americans, and we see that only 0.2% make up the population of Kerman. And finally, we look at the non-Hispanic whites, and we see that they make up 13.2% of the population for Kerman. After getting this profile, I close the 3rd map pane to go with 2 map panels to keep things simple for now. I then decide to look at the economic opportunity for people on panel 1 and the economic opportunity for place on the other. By doing so, I can see that Kerman is below average on the economic opportunity for people index, but above average on the economic opportunity place index. So what's going on here? To understand what this is measuring, I click on the question mark button to get the definitions. In this first panel, the Economic Opportunity for People domain measures the relative economic well-being of people in a community in the form of employment and income levels. The Economic Opportunity for Place domain measures the relative climate of a community in the form of access to employment and business climate. To drill down, I click on the East Side Census Tract in orange on the People Index and the light green Census Tract on the Place Index. On the People side, I see that Kerman has very low basic income, meaning households with incomes over 200% of the federal poverty level, but relatively high levels of employment. So even with high employment, people are still poor. Now I want to see the actual numbers for these indicators. I will click on the minimum basic income measure bar on the People panel. By doing so, I get a map of the specific measure. If I click on the census tract, I get the actual value of this measure compared to the regional average. I see that while the regional average is nearly 60%, the value here is just over 37%. That is, people here are poorer than other areas of the region. I could do the same for employment bar. On the place side, I see that there is relatively high job quality and job growth, although lower levels of new business creation on the job availability. Because I saw the very low incomes on the people side, I want to look at the job quality in more depth. This is the percentage of jobs in a 5-mile radius that are in higher paying industries. I then click on the job quality measure to map this. I then click on the census tract on that map and I get the actual value. I see that while the region average is 36%, the value here is 53%. Based on this, I can see a disconnect between the poverty of the people and the location of higher paying jobs. In other words, the people here are not getting access to these high paying jobs, which may be filled with people from outside the area. Why is this? We can't know for sure without on-the-ground research, but one possible factor would be the education level of the residents here. To check this, we go back to the indicator menu and select the Education People Index and click on the indicator for percentage of adults with post-secondary education. Once it is mapped, I then click again on the area. I see this is not quite 8.5% compared with the regional average of just over 29%. The level of higher education in the region is another question. Based on this analysis, an action strategy might include improving the school to college pipeline and the employment training so that people here can get access to the higher paying jobs. I might also want to explore other potential factors in job access, for example, transportation and internet access. Now, I will be preparing a presentation to an economic development authority for the region, and I want to use these maps. So to do so, I can click on the Print Map function button in the toolbar in the upper right-hand corner of each panel. To get a drop-down menu of size formats, as well as file formats, either using PDF or JPEG. All of these maps I can then use to print, insert into a PowerPoint presentation, or post to social media sites. For more help on using the Regional Opportunity Index, please visit the mappingregionalchange.ucdavis.edu ROI site and click on the Show Me Tutorials for more tutorial videos.